Continue to space out. I don't know if you've done any calculations, but the senior days left on the front of the school on the window says 14. Is that right?
Yeah.
You have all this week, 4 next week, and 5 the next. That's 14 days, correct? That's pushing quarantine time if any of you are exposed at this point. If you are within 6 feet of somebody, inside or out, wearing a mask or not, for more than 15 minutes, you could be excluded, which could mean you're not part of the graduation ceremony. And that's inside of school and out, so you've got to be careful. A critical time right now to make sure you're staying safe, no matter how weird this is. For example, you two, you need to give your 6 feet. You two are not 6 feet. You too are not 6 feet. I hate being that police guy. I hate being the one who tells you about your masks and your spacing. It's a terrible time for you guys, and I'm sorry about that. But we're doing what we can to keep as many of you here and around for the ceremonies and the parties and the things like that that we have. I don't know how many of you saw the letter from Mr. Shea last week. But the middle school right now, because of how many cases they have among the students, will quarantine a whole classroom if there's one case in there, not just whoever's sitting close. We at the high school are close to that. That's what the health district requires. Their next step is shutting down school for 2 weeks. So I'm telling you, you guys gotta be good. You can't be getting cases, and the rest of the school has to help you out some. Because if the school has to shut down, that's all activities as well. Might be some wrangling, so please be careful. Inside of school and out. We are happy to see you here, but we are even more excited to get you guys gone. We were happy to see you come as freshmen, and now we're happy to see you leave as graduates. There really isn't much more we can do for you for your life. We want to see you do the next things that help you develop and be that person that you want to be, whether it's college or the military or a job or other life experiences you're going to have. It's just time. With those 14 days, I want to encourage you to have some class. So, you're tired of masking and distancing. I'm tired of having you do that. We're tired of the school year. I wish we could do a soccer-style end to the school year. And what I mean by that is, if you've ever been to a soccer game, you play so long and then the clock out there stops at about 2 minutes, and the referee blows his whistle when he thinks the game is done. I always thought it would be nice to say, come to spring break and then shut off the clock. We still got stuff to do. When it's done, and we go. Maybe that's May, maybe that's June, whenever. I would be blowing my whistle. We're about done. We feel it learning. We feel it with better weather that's coming later this week. Today's not so hard. But you got to have some class. Your grade level, despite 3 years and all but 2 weeks, will be remembered a lot for how you go out. First impressions and last impressions remain. You're well thought of. Your teachers, for the most part, enjoy you as a class and you as individuals. We have a lot of good memories. We're hoping good things for you. Don't do things now that would change that. Keep your class. And not just school class, but keep your classiness, right? Sometimes this year, there's a question about senior prank. Let me tell you how I deal with senior pranks. No damage to property or people. No harm to people, of course. It has to be cleaned up quickly. My custodian can't spend all day cleaning up a senior prank. And it cannot disrupt classes or the normal operation of any part of the school. So for example, parking cars in the front doors so people can't get in or out is not a senior prank that we will deal with well. It's particularly with COVID and coming in and attestations, that kind of thing messes with our flow and our spacing and can result in some kind of consequences. An example of some things that we saw that were okay. When I was in high school, we had these drinking fountains that had deep bowls. They're not like these now, so you couldn't do it here. But they were like a dish. They were almost 6 or 8 inches tall. One of the guys went through and with some saran wrap plugged the drains in them all and then filled them with water and put a couple goldfish in each one. So he went to get a drink and the dish was full and there were goldfish swimming in it. Kind of funny. No damage to people, no nothing. I don't want to hear you pointing things at other classes or other kids. We have done, we've heard ideas like we're going to go around at night, the custodian will let us in, and then put alarm clocks in the ceiling of all the classrooms and have them go off randomly. Disrupts the learning environment. We won't have that. You need to be careful that while you think it's good-natured, we still have a business to conduct. And our employees are given these keys to be able to do their jobs only. And when they go outside of what their job description is with these, they aren't authorized to do that. Particularly in COVID times, the building is only open to you during certain hours. So it may put a cramp on what you can do for your senior pranker to have a little fun. You just got to be a little bit more creative. Merkel in a little bit is going to talk to you about graduation dress code. I want to talk to you about celebration and ceremony real quick. Most of you are aware that we're going to have a ceremony out there and a celebration up front. It's going to look like this. About 5 o'clock, actually we'll back up. Friday before the 11th, you'll come in the morning, you'll do your finals, you'll turn in your computers, and then you'll have probably about a 45-minute block for lunch. Right? 4th period in both lunches. As soon as you can get your computer turned in, you can go and then come back. We will meet in this gym and start the senior slideshow at the beginning of 5th period, whenever that would normally be. I believe that's 12:30. So we will be starting the slideshow in here at about 12:40. Then we'll talk about the practice. We'll talk about lining you up, how you're going to walk out to the field, where you're going to sit. We will walk through what the ceremony is going to look like. And then we'll come back in. But the night of, and then we'll do the same Monday, except Monday we may actually go out and practice the sit and do some other things. Your ceremony out there we expect to last 30 to 35 minutes. You get 3 tickets, remember. If you are not going to use all of your tickets, and you know that now, please tell your counselor, because we have families that are asking for some more. Only 3 people, and they'll have to be on both sides of the stadium, spaced out to meet the guidelines. We will be sitting with our backs to the track practice field. Okay? So we'll be kind of out near the center or about where those bleachers start, headed back, but we will be on the east side of the field, okay? People will not be allowed to wander around. They'll have to be in the bleachers. The ceremony will be there. We'll have the speakers there. At the end, we'll do the turning of the tassels. Because we're not in the IMB, you'll be able to throw up, or the Opera House or FICA Center, whatever they're calling now, you'll be able to toss your cap and gown, not your gown. Now, what I'm going to say about that is, if you decorate it, it should be pretty easy to find yours, but be careful. Throwing a decorated cap up means when it hits the ground, the decorations can come off. So be careful. The other thing is your tassel. You're going to want to fasten that somehow to the knob on the top of the cap, because when we used to do this at my last school and we'd throw them up, the tassel spins in the air, comes off the cap, and you find your cap, but you can't find your tassel because they went woo. So make sure you keep your tassel attached. In the past, you know, they don't really come off. Some like to hang them on the rearview mirror of the car, I guess. But a little dot of some kind of glue right on top, and then the knot, the backside of the tassel in that glue to dry will hold it there pretty well. But be careful. Some of you will lose tassels if you throw your hat and you don't do something like that. We're going to ask you to get out of here pretty quick, because A through G are going to start up front at 7 o'clock, and that's where you can bring as many people as you want in one car, and maybe that car or truck is going to pull a trailer. So some of the things we saw last year, we saw vans, we saw a pickup with somebody in the front, people in the bed, and then towing like a pontoon boat or something like that, or a flatbed trailer that people could get in. You'll get off at the front of the school, get out of your car on the east side, walk on a red carpet, we'll give you your diploma cover. You can take a picture with me getting it this year, or you can take it alone. I won't make you stand with me and shake my hand. I am rather sleek and model-like, though, so you can decide that. There'll be a background. And then your family can cheer and horn and whistle and do all that. We'll have a professional photographer there to take that photo. Then you'll walk off to the west towards EVMS, and we will have a table there with counselors that will probably give you a packet with your diploma and the other records you have, and you don't ever have to come back if you don't want. You get back in the car and you go off. So that's something you can do, and you can have as many people as you want there in one car or car and trailer combination or whatever you want to do. Last year, it was a lot of fun for people. They enjoyed it. That's what you can expect there. Enjoy the time with your friends. It's the last time. Some of you have already felt it with the hybrid model and what we did last year. You won't run into people anymore that you spent almost 13 years now with, or more, or a little bit less, because you're no longer scheduled to be at the same place and same time. It's much more like how you deal with friends from Running Start. You have to make time and place to meet them. So enjoy the last time, the last 14 days that you have with your friends at school in one place. It'll be hard to connect after that. We know what happens at graduations. We know what happens outside of graduation. We know that there will be parties. We know that some of you will be engaged in things that can impair you and your decisions and judgments. Please be safe. I know that there's nothing I can say or do to prevent you from having some of that stuff and doing some celebration in that way. But please be safe. Driving, your behaviors, how you treat other people. Don't get in a position where you can harm yourself or others. There are things that happen there other than car accidents that happen and that keep lifelong consequences. Be safe. Don't be so impaired that you cannot make good, solid decisions. Finally, You now, for the rest of your life, will represent us at East Valley. Reputation in the community. Some of you are going to distant states in different places right away. Some of you will go later in your life. People will only know about East Valley High School from how you describe it. Have a little pride. Let bygones be bygones. Remember the good parts. You don't have enough time in your life to let the bad things keep a hold of you. Go on and enjoy. We will remember you. You're part of our history. Whether you've been here for a few years or your whole career. Some of you will be in the community. Some of the community will only know East Valley High School based upon what you say. You cannot say demeaning things or how bad it was without to some degree demeaning yourself and the kind of experience that you had here and what we help prepare you to be. In the future, some of you may come back and need help applying to a job or getting information for an employer. I've had calls from somebody who graduated 10 years ago who's now in the military and wanted to be in the